So for this first day of section 6, there's a couple different things that we're going to talk about, but realistically one of the pieces you'll see is the exact same thing we've been doing. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is what they call the fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay, I know it's a big heavy name, but it really does a couple things for us, but it's all based on looks. Here's what it reads, just in case you've never read it before, which I'm sure you haven't. If f of x is a polynomial of degree n, where n is greater than 0. So all that means is that if you have a polynomial with a degree, so obviously if you have a polynomial, you have a degree of some sort, whatever that number is. The highest degree cannot be, it's got to be higher than 0, okay? Which is, then it has to be, it can't be a constant. Then the equation f of x equals 0 has at least one solution in a set of complex numbers. Okay, so what that means is you have one of them that could be in the set of complex. For what that means for you is this. Here's what they're going to ask you to do on the first couple problems. It's going to say x to the third plus 3x squared plus 6x plus 48 equals 0, and it's going to ask you this question. How many answers should I get?
3.
Sure. Oh, I did? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
What?
How many solutions should I get?
3.
3. How did you know that?
Because that's the exponent.
Because the highest exponent is 3. Done. This is the first half of your assignment today, where all you're going to be asked is, how many solutions could you have?
You just write 3.
So my answer was 3.
Can that just be our holes? That's it. Oh my gosh.
If I gave you x to the fourth plus 6x to the third plus 12x squared plus 8x, how many solutions can I expect to have?
4.
Done. Okay? The first part of your assignment is just going to ask you how many solutions you are expected to get. Are you guys okay with that? That's half of your assignment today, is just doing that. That's all you have to tell me. You will not have to tell me yet how many of each type you could have. That'll be tomorrow. But all you have to do is identify how many we're supposed to get. We've talked about that already. It's not new. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
That's half of your assignment. Then, the other half. See if this sounds familiar. Find all zeros of x to the fifth plus x squared, or x cubed, I mean, minus 2x squared minus 12x minus 8. What does it mean by find all the zeros? Factor is one option. That's x to the fifth. Gross. Synthetic divide something, right? What we did a couple days ago? You bet. So, if I tried to factor it, first of all, there's 5 terms there. We never had something for 5. Even with grouping, we'd have one left over that if we just had one person that was left behind or one person that we forgot about, then I'd feel bad. So therefore, factoring is not going to be an option yet. So remember what we did a couple days ago where we listed all the possible solutions and started synthetic dividing and getting ones that worked?
Do we have to do that?
So what numbers multiply together give you 8? And? Okay, now the other day some of you asked me, is there an easier way to do this? Because this seems like you're going to show me an easier way later. Okay. So one of the things that you guys have been doing for me before, but none of you probably thought of this, and I don't know, maybe you did or maybe you didn't. You just didn't let anybody else know this. have you found zeros a different way than this? How did you find zeros a different way than this? I'll give you a hint. Your calculator can help you find zeros. You did it for me already, right? Remember when I asked you to find zeros and mins and maxes on the calculator? How come none of you thought of that the other day when I said find the zeros? Or did you and didn't want to say anything? Okay, now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. The calculator will help you find the whole number zeros, which is good for us, okay? It will not give you the ones that come up with square root left over, okay? It has a hard time finding the ones with fractions because they'll come out as decimals. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do for this one. I'm going to take my handy-dandy calculator, and I'm first going to turn it on. And then I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type in the equation I gave you. So x caret 5 plus x caret 3 minus 2x squared minus 12x minus 8. And I'm going to hit graph and see what it looks like. I have no clue. So as Abby and I take a look at it, Abby, can you identify at least one number that it hits the x-axis on?
Like negative
Just
1.
by looking at it.
Like negative 1.
Looks like negative 1 works. Okay? It looks like, does negative 1 look like it does one of these things? Bounce and comes back down? Okay, so I'm going to take negative 1 and I'm going to stick it in the backwards L and I'm going to run it through the ringer. What number should come out if Abby's right? Right. Now, here's where you need to be careful. When I'm writing out the numbers here, what's the lead coefficient? What's next? Good. Then? And then? And then? And then? And then? No, and then. I just need to watch movies more. You don't even know what movie that is. Good job. Thank you. So if I drop the 1 down, what's negative 1 times 1? Negative 1 plus 0? Negative 1 times negative 1? 1 plus 1? Negative 1 times 2? Negative 2 minus 2? Negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1? Negative 12 plus 4? Negative 8 times negative 1? 8. Abby was right. Now we also said with that one, Abby said it looked like it bounced. What did I say about the ones that bounce? Do you remember? The ones that come up, hit the graph, and go back down. What did that mean? It was a maximum, yes, but what did it mean for zeros? When they come up and hit it once, hit it and then come right back down, that's a multiplicity of 2, which means, do it again. Negative 1. Now remember, I started with x to the 5th. I found one that works. Now I'm down to x to the 4th. What do I have to get it down to? I got to get it down to x squared. I got a couple more to find, right? If it bounces like it did, try it again. So drop the 1. What's negative 1 times 1? What's negative 1 minus 1? What's negative 2 times negative 1? What's 2 plus 2? What's negative 1 times 4? What's negative 4 minus 4? Negative 8. What's negative 8 times negative 1? 8, which is 0. Awesome. Abby, does it look like it crosses through any other points? What, 1? 2? Okay. So I'm going to run 2 through there. Again, remember, we're always going down. We're always going to try to get it down to so we got x squared. Drop the 1. 1 times 2? What's 2 minus 2? 0 times 2? 0 plus 4. 4 times 2? 8. And 8 minus 8 is 0. Now, here's what happened. We started with x to the 5th. Negative 1 worked. Negative 1 worked again. Now 2 worked. So what is that down there at the bottom? That's 1x squared plus 0x plus 4. So now when you get it down to 1x squared plus 0x plus 4, that's a quadratic. How do we solve quadratics? We either use factoring, completing the square, quadratic formula, or square rooting. So if I set that equal to 0, how do I do that? What do you think you want to do? We did what? There's one on the board still. You can try to factor it, but what times what gives me 4 but adds up to be nothing? If you do 2 and 2, when you add that, that makes 4, not 0. And if you do negative 2 and negative 2, that makes negative 4, not 0. You can't do one of each because if you multiply it, that gives me negative 4, not positive 4. When I have an x squared plus or minus a number, it's like what we did for this one here or this one here the other day. Add it over and then square root it. Or subtract it over and square root it. If I subtract over 4, I get x squared equals negative 4. How do I square root it? Good. I take my I out. Now, I want to let you in on a little secret. A couple days ago when we were doing this, it said find all real zeros. Right? This direction said find all zeros. Do you hear the difference between what I said?
Yeah.
Real zeros, we didn't have any i's. All zeros, we have i's. Okay? That's the difference. So what's the square root of negative 4? Plus or minus 2i. So x equals plus or minus 2i. That's one of them. Or two of them actually, right? Because it's plus 2i and minus 2i. Then you had a positive 2, a negative 1, and a negative 1. How many answers did I get? 5.
Oh,
Is that how many I should have gotten?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what you're doing for the second half of your assignment today. So what I'm going to suggest, use your calculator, type the equation in, see where it crosses. Run those numbers through instead of going to search forever. Remember the other day when we were doing that one and you guys all had headaches when you guys left because the answers were negative 1/2 and 3/5? And then you got the square root one after that? Use your calculator to help you out. Get some ones that you can get started with. But I guarantee you once you get down to the squareds, you're probably not going to have one. You're not going to have one that showed all 5. I'm guaranteeing you when the directions say find all zeros, you're probably going to have i's and or a square root. Expect it. Okay? Would you want me to do another one?
No.
Okay. Fine. I won't. What do we got up there, Bryce?
Page 202, 3 through 15.
And just so that you guys know, when you read the directions, because I know none of you do, so when you read the directions on 3 through 7, it just says identify the number of possible solutions. I just want you just have to tell me how many do you think there are. And then on 9, 11, 13, and 15, that's exactly what we just got done doing in the last problem. Okay? All right. Go.